Okay, so we are now live. We have a bunch of our panelists here. We have some participants chiming in here. So thanks again so much for everyone joining us today. We're very excited, and I have to say I am honestly honored to be able to present a panel of such incredible business leaders, thought leaders, educators, and really just big supporters of our whole industry. You know, in a time of uncertainty, it really brings comfort knowing that there's all of us are doing this together. We're in it together, and that all of us together are here to help give you just what we know currently of what we can do to help give you a little bit of clarity, support, encouragement at this time, so that we can kind of pull together as a community and get through this. So this is our third episode of Together We Talk. And in all honesty, it was started just to kind of give us an opportunity to have some communication together and to get the industry's best to really just pick their brains of how they're getting through this at this time. So what we want you guys to do, whoever's watching this, wherever you are, go ahead in the chat. You can say where you're from so we know where you're from. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions. And at the end, we will be going ahead and asking those questions to go from there. So without further ado, I do have bios on each person, and they have generously donated their time today. So I just wanted to kind of highlight them. And before I go there, I just want to say thank you so much. You guys are extremely busy. I know you have a lot of people reaching out to you right now, and for you to say yes and take this time with me and all these people watching, we personally just want to thank you. You are such a great support for our industry, and I just bless you all for doing everything you're doing, and I can't wait to keep elevating the industry with each and every one of you. So
thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. All right, guys, so we're going to start off with Jerry. So Jerry, here he is. Jerry is the CEO and founder of Schedulicity. Jerry is a seasoned executive who advises and mentors entrepreneurial companies in a variety of fields, including SaaS business models, local e-commerce, sales, and business development. He's been awarded numerous appointments and consulting roles with both public and private companies in a variety of industries and sectors. Thanks so much for being here, Jerry.
Thank you.
Woo! Yes. I love you.
I'm pretty excited. Hi, press.
Very good.
Hi, babe. I love you.
Next up, we have Erin. Erin Mills is the owner of the beautiful Theory Salon in Orlando. She is a talented colorist known for her beautiful blonde transformations. She's also an ELF-PAR USA ambassador, educator, and one of Modern Salon's 2019 Top 100. Thanks so much for being here, Erin.
You're so welcome.
Next up, Mr. Jay Lander, our boy. Jay Lander is an accomplished hair and makeup artist with experience in film, television, theater, print, and online media, and another one of Modern Salon's Top 100. He is also an entrepreneur, an educator, an ebook author, a brand ambassador, and hosts the No Stylist Left Behind podcast with Mila Tullio. Thanks so much, Jay, for being here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
All right. Next up is Steve Gomez. Steve's experience as a business coach and trainer spans over 26 years, if you can believe it, with a background in marketing, communications, and operations. Steve is personally responsible for assisting hundreds of salons, spas, professionals, and corporations with accelerating growth through business training and systems specifically targeted to increase sales, operational growth, profits, and leadership development. Also, he is recognized as one of the top experts on business systems in the beauty and wellness industry. Steve has delivered over 700 trainings and seminars to over 400,000 people in the United States and internationally. So thanks so much, Steve, for being here.
Oh.
My pleasure.
It's like a whole
life.
That just means I'm an old man. That's all that means. That's all that means.
You when I grow up. I was like blown away.
That's all that means.
We get a sense of how powerful this panel is. Hey, here we go. Presley Poe, from her personal style to her gorgeous bright colors and styling, Presley is bursting with creativity. With more than 17 years of experience in the salon industry, Presley has mastered the art of creative color. She is a member of the 2020 Cosmoprof artistic team, behind the chair one-shot winner, brand ambassador, and amazing educator. Thanks, Presley, for being here.
Yes.
Hey.
Next up, we have Anthony Whittaker. Anthony is the ultimate educator and motivator with a worldwide reputation on more than 30 years of experience in the
That's awesome.
industry, right? He is internationally acclaimed as a gifted multi-award-winning stylist turned educator, motivator, business coach, a best-selling author, and host of Grow My Salon Business podcast. Thanks for being here, Anthony.
My pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
There we go.
We're about to get Whittakered.
Yeah, we're gonna get last but
Trademark that.
not least, we've got Amber Joy.
What's up?
Amber is the owner of Amber Joy & Co., which opened its doors just over 3 years ago. Amber has been in the industry for 10 plus years, and not only is she a salon owner, but she's a fully booked stylist, mentor to her team, and founder of her own education brand, Flawless Foliage, which has been hosted throughout Canada and the US. Amber is a 2-time one-shot hair award finalist, a Redken Canadian advocate, and a Mint Tools and SalonScale affiliate. Thanks so much for being here, Amber.
Thanks for having me.
Hey.
Happy to be here.
Well, thanks so much again to everybody for being here. And we now have 50 people joining us here, already in here. For those
What's
of
up,
you that
everybody?
are here,
Hi.
welcome. Here's our panel. And just so you know, this is being recorded. So if you do want to rewatch it, it will be coming right to you after this. So you can go ahead and share that. So with that, I'm going to start off with our housekeeping. So basically, I'm going to start with 3 of the main topics that we'll talk about, and we'll go through each person, and then we'll open it up for questions with you. So the first one that I got questions on is, what should I be focusing on / doing right now? So what are some things that people should be focusing on / doing right now?
I'll go first. So,
Like, do you want to call on people? That way we know.
yeah, what's
I
here?
don't know. We're like, we all want to respond.
Everyone, we'll start with Amber, and then if you guys want to open up, you guys can go ahead, and I will do my best.
Kind of like add on to each other too, right? Like kind of just go with the flow. So like I'll just start with something. For me, I think focusing on finding balance with the extra time that we have. Something that I've really done is I've split my time. Like I don't want to just be focusing on my home life right now. We still have to focus on, our businesses and things like that. But I've really now scheduled myself more specific time to focus on my mental health, my physical health, and then also the extra things with my business that I necessarily don't always have time to get to. So I figured I'll start with that for you guys, and you guys can add on to it. But yeah, just focusing on all the things that we don't normally have time for that we actually really need to nourish for ourselves, personal and business wise.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Alicia, I'll go. I think there's 3 things that I've been out there saying that we should be doing. First of all of us, whether we're on here right now or listening to this and watching this, we're all leaders in our communities, whether it's the national community like this or in your local community. So we should be seeing you going live on Instagram and on Facebook. We should be seeing you teaching and educating, getting a message out to your customers. We can't touch them physically, but we definitely can touch them in spirit and in passion. And it's critical that we are a voice as an industry in our communities, because they look to us for comfort, care, and solace, and they trust us so deeply. So this is not a time for anybody to be going dark. This is the time for us to be out there sharing our heart, teaching and educating at-home tips. That's one. Two, if maybe you shy away from looking at budgeting creatively, now is the time, since you're home, to get the budget organized. I don't care if you got to go back 14 months to January of 2019 and get all the receipts off the bowl that's on top of the refrigerator and organized, and get things in a place where you can understand what you're doing financially. Specifically, look back over the last 4 months of business, excluding December, because at that bit, we're always a bit busier during the holiday season, most of us at least. So look at October, November, January, and February, and then get a 4-month trending average, because it's a solid number to go off of all the different sales incomes that you're bringing in: service, retail, gift card, rental, and then all of your expense averages. That information is going to be valuable when you reopen your doors. So you then can compare how you're doing when you reopen to where you were before with a solid trend. Not only that, you'll be able to see how much money predictably that you're going to need to open your doors, because everybody's out there getting these loans and SBA this and grants and whatnot. We say sit on that money as much as you can, because we don't know how busy we really are going to be when we reopen. There might be an initial surge, and then people might be spacing their appointments out. So, get that average so you have something to compare to. And then lastly, work on those systems that Amber was talking about. Literally make a list and start writing them out, and start taking your scripts and editing them, taking your handbooks and editing them, taking your cleaning procedures and opening and closing procedures, anything systematically. Put a creative eye on, and get your team involved. Get them on a Zoom like this, and get them one person each taking on an idea or taking on a system that they rewrite, so that we're still creating engagement and helping the business to strengthen itself.
Totally.
I love that. So amazing.
Can I say something next? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. You want to go?
Oh, I just wanted to say, as a salon owner, I think it's really important too that we put a big focus of ours daily on our salon team, because for them, it's really, really scary. And they're kind of looking to us every single day to lead them. And it's really important that we keep the communication as clear as possible, and that we research all of the information so that they're not having to look for it themselves, because sometimes it's intimidating. Applying for unemployment right now is a nightmare. All of the things that you think you can apply for, you might not get also. So what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what would be the best kind of education for us to do as a team while we don't have anything actually to do, because there's a lot of things that we could do as a team to still stay united, to still feel like we're there for each other emotionally. So that's what we're doing. And I think that, I've only been an owner for 6 months. I'm very new at this. But I think that protecting my team is the most important thing that I can do as an owner.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
Everyone engaged too. It's like, we've been shut down for 3 weeks already, and we are probably going to be shut down for maybe until May, maybe longer. We don't know. And I think that's such great advice from both you and Steve and Erin, and just keeping engaged and keeping your staff knowing that we care about them too. I think that when we come back, everything will be stronger that way for sure.
And I really feel that, right now as educators, speaking to the educator point of view, is getting out there, going live, like Steve talked about, talking to people, giving free education rather than focusing on that dollar amount side. I know that from my followers and just the people who are reaching out to me, my fun videos that, are doing kitchen hair or trying products that are inside my kitchen, and just kind of giving that breath of fresh air. But also, if you're a salon owner, because I live in LA, I'm an independent artist here, but I own a salon in Ohio. What I'm doing now is connecting to salon owners here in LA and in Ohio, because there's a lot of stylists who are independent who will not have a home after this. So it's having that community that Steve talked about that we're all saying and reaching out to them. And I can fit 16 stylists in my Ohio, location. So I'm reaching out to those artists who feel like they're losing their place of work, connecting with other owners in the area to have that conversation on what we need to do to project our industry forward. It's going to be a rough time for all of us, but if we here together, we open up our salons to people who don't have a home for like the first couple months, to get them back on their feet. We all have to start having that conversation together as fellow professionals. So that's what my main focus is. So everyone out there listening and on this panel, like reach out to people in your area to say, hey, how are you doing? There's a lot of solo entrepreneurs that don't have a home anymore and they're financially not stable to go back into that atmosphere. So salon owners, if you have to go hybrid, go hybrid. You know what I mean? If you have to change up your salon structure, switch it up, because we all have to work together in the next couple of years to bring this industry back to where we were.
Yeah, I think that brings up a great point, is that the new salon is going to be not the same.
No.
And the customer journeys and the way that we, service customers, the way we take in customers, the way we pay staff, the way we do this, those things are all going to be questioned. So, when we talk about those things, like, this is why we have to be very innovative and creative at this time. And when we are making those manuals and procedures, I think this is the time to kind of explore what do we kind of project or think of the new and what's going to happen. So if anyone wants to kind of chime into that, like if we are making manuals and procedures right now, do we base it off old systems, or are we going to be creative and think of new things?
If I could just say something about where we were just a second ago, listening to everyone talk, first of all, Jay, that was awesome, because that's something like, as a non-business or a non-salon owner, I've seen so many people going through that. And I think it is a really great idea to open that. And like, if you have like a booth, maybe it's not open, like just letting people use that to keep their clientele, to get money to get back into their booth rent. So that was really awesome. For me, I have a saying, it's grow within the space that you've been given. And I feel like, unfortunately, we've been given this space that we're forced, as busybodies, as business owners, as thinkers, and like entrepreneurs that are always on the go, that we just have to stop at an abrupt standstill. So we're like forced to sit with all this. But the silver lining is it's this beautiful moment to grow within this space. And for me personally, as an educator, I've been going live almost every single day and connecting to people, trying to get out there, not oversaturating, which is a thing of oversaturating the same information out there. But I just think like growing within the space of like using this time of things like how Steve was talking about, sorry, I dropped my phone, of like, I'm building a website right now. So if you're at home and you're like, okay, well, I'm not an educator and I don't want to go live, like, what could you do? Like, you could redo your finances. Or like, for me, I'm creating content and teaching on mannequins, but I can also use that content for my website. So it can be like a passive income later of like, I'm already doing this, or like doing it at home and growing within that space. I just wanted to like chime in, grow in the space that we've been given, and like whatever it is that you feel like you haven't had that time to do it. And don't just do things that you haven't had time to do the things that you've always wished that you could do. Like, we have that as well. Like, this has given me so much like perspective on like, when we saturate ourselves so fully with the thing that we love, like that's burnout after a while, right? But I was like, holy crap, like, also not just about our industry, but like, get your hobbies back. All kind of self-care. Like, I was like, oh my God, I used to sew, like I do hair, like I used to paint and I used to write. And I'm like, these things all go back to, if we can take this time to fill our cup back up, then we can take that with us back behind the chair into how we navigate business. And I know, Jerry, that I look to you so much, and I'm so glad to be affiliated with you, because I know it's something that you have really been doing with Schedulicity right now.
Yeah, I
Can we
think
hear you?
I would pull that over to Jerry too. It's like, speaking of giving, I think Jerry has really stepped up
Amazing.
in a lot of ways. And I'd love for you to speak to everybody about, where your mindset was when you hit the switch and you you thought so selflessly and went that way. So maybe speak towards that.
Sure. Well, first of all, I've really enjoyed listening to all of you guys. Such an amazing community to be a part of. And it's really fascinating for me, especially to be on a panel like this, simply because I don't have the same background. I haven't been a stylist, although I know more about that world than I ever saw.
Yeah, you do.
I was with my daughters. I have a 21 and a 22-year-old daughter. My oldest daughter just became an esthetician, and she started in October. Of course, she just got laid off. And but yeah, not too long ago, I was with them, and a woman walked by and said something, and one of my daughters said something about her hair, and I said it was a balayage, and my younger daughter looked at me and she goes, "Who are you?" But anyway, I mean, for us at Schedulicity, we've always, I built this whole entire company around trying to help people in this community to be more successful. That's really what it's about. I mean, I've always been passionate about artists. I grew up playing music and touring as a musician before I started my career, and I've just always been drawn to passionate, creative people. And I don't know a better way to describe all of you and all of the people in this community. And so I've always been drawn to that. And when I started Schedulicity kind of in a selfish way, because it was so difficult to get an appointment with people that I wanted to see. And I thought to myself, gosh, there's got to be a better way to do this. And ultimately, that was really the start of how Schedulicity came about. But the big thing for us was when I really started to do it, what became apparent to me was just how hard it is to be in this business, how hard it is to come out of school, build your business, have all the chops and skills to be artists, but then also have to manage a business. And I saw that there was a big disconnect there. And so it was really all about building that kind of a thing. And it's been an amazing, journey. We have tens of thousands of people in the hair industry using Schedulicity, and close to 27 million consumers using Schedulicity to book, with their artists and stuff. And so last year in April, about a year ago, we started the Schedulicity Cares program, which is basically, my head of marketing, Michael Wilson, and I were sitting around, we were talking about, wow, this has been so much fun, what could we do to give back to people? And basically we came up with our grant program. So every month we've been giving away $5,000 to a hairstylist, $5,000 to a barber, and another $5,000 to somebody in the beauty industry, like eyelashes or eyebrows or an esthetician, to people to help them get more education, or maybe to open their own salon, or maybe do whatever it is that they want to help them get better. And it's been really amazing and fulfilling journey. We've given away, I think, close to $200,000 over the last 12 months to people. And so basically, what happened, with Schedulicity is around the 8th or 9th of March, this was all starting to, happen. And I know everybody probably knows this, but for me, the big thing that's been so crazy about this situation is simply that not even the craziness that we're living with that Anthony brought up before we started, but to me, really just how fast everything happened. I found myself having to deal with issues and things 48 hours ago I hadn't even thought about before. That's crazy.
Changed every single day. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm running a company with 90 employees at Schedulicity, and they're looking to me. They don't know what's going on, and so I remember around that time I sent out something to all of my people, basically saying, here's what I'm thinking about. I'm talking to other business leaders, and I'm doing all this stuff, and then literally overnight, everything started to unravel. And remember, at Schedulicity, we have unbelievable visibility into the data, right? Because we know what everybody's calendar looks like, right? Tens of thousands. So we went from booking 150 to 175,000 appointments every 24 hours. And we saw that number just starting to go like this in a matter of days, right? And appointments canceling and all the stuff that we could see in the data. And then my daughter called me and she's like, Dad, I don't know, 6 of my 9 appointments canceled today. And what am I going to do? She's crying. How am I going to pay my rent? And so on. And then that was Thursday night on the 12th or 11th, sometime around that. I remember I went to bed that night and basically I tossed and turned because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to crush the very people that we built Schedulicity for. And so I couldn't sleep. Next morning, I called some of my leadership team together and I said, listen, I'm thinking about doing something kind of crazy. So I need you to tell me, how we can make this happen and how we can do it. And I basically said, I'd like to just suspend all of our fees for all of our thousands and thousands and thousands of people that use Schedulicity, to help them get through, this time, give them access to every feature that we have, all the marketing, everything, and just let them use it for free, at least until July while we see what's going on here. And I basically posted to my team and they were so excited and on board. Everybody, I had to talk my CFO off the ledge for a few minutes, but
us numbers guys, yep, us numbers guys.
Yeah. And but anyway, bottom line, for me, it was an amazing experience. Our entire CX team, our rock stars, worked all weekend long. Our entire marketing team worked all weekend, and then on the 14th, I went live and basically, let everybody know we were canceling our fees. The other thing that we've done is this week, and I know some of you, I know Press knows, we changed our Schedulicity Cares grant. Instead of giving away one $5,000 grant to a hairstylist and blah, 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 we're giving away every other day, starting this past Monday, $500 every other day, because we figured we could help more people by doing $500 grants. So we started that on Monday. So today is our 3rd one this week that we're giving away. And it's just something, $500 is a lot of help for, my hairstylist who hasn't, been able to work for the last 2 weeks. And as you guys know, at least my daughter worked at a full service salon and got laid off so she could apply for, but my hairstylist is a small independent business woman. She's just home, unable to get self-employment, or unemployment, or anything. But to get back to the original question that was asked, and then I'll stop blabbing, but the way that I'm thinking about it at Schedulicity is very simple. One of my mentors that really changed my whole life was this little old guy in New York City, and he told me all kinds of things that I still think about today, 20 years later. And one of them was, and this is the message that I stood up and gave to my entire staff, and everybody else that I've been speaking to, which is, he once told me that it's easy to be great when everything's great, right? But true greatness happens when everything's going to hell, right? That's when organizations and individuals truly become great, is when you can do it when things are not well, right? And so the day that this happened, that's what I told my company. I said, listen, this is scary. We don't know what's going to happen. But I know that it's not the time to stick your head in the sand and feel sorry for yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as an opportunity to be great when things aren't necessarily great. And so we thought, what are the things that we can do besides giving back money like we just talked about? What are the things that we can do? And I realized very quickly, this is a magical opportunity for us, right? Because at Schedulicity, we're magical at getting people to come to Schedulicity. Our problem has been engagement, because people are simply so busy, right? All the time. The girl who cuts my hair, Charlene, I mean, she's seeing 40, 50 people a week. She's on her feet all day long. You guys know this. And so, what I realized right now is we have an opportunity to communicate and engage and educate and be leaders, right? Because all of our addressable, all of these people have a little bit more time on their hands. And the message that we've been giving, very much what all of you have said, now is not the time to go away. Now is the time to be great, right? Because this will end. Could be in 30 days. It could be 45 days. I don't know, but it will end. That much I can tell you. And my company is concentrating. We're telling all of our businesses, all of everyone that I'm talking to use this time to do everything you can do to put yourself in a position to be great. Because when it ends, you want to come out of this thing like you were shot out of a cannon. And that's what we're telling people. We're saying, hey, here's all these tools that we have. Use them all. They're free. Use the automated marketing. If you haven't signed up for Schedulicity Pay, our payment processing is 1.9% and 10 cents a transaction. My hairstylist saves $400 a month, and she's an independent hairstylist from what she was paying using Square before that. So I'm telling everybody, use this time where you have time to do things, to learn, to get education, to listen to your mentors and people that educate you. Do anything that you can do to make yourself great. And above all, communicate with your customers. Communicate with your clients, because everybody's looking for leaders right now, and everybody has a chance to be a leader at this time. And that's really the way that I'm thinking about it, the way that Schedulicity is thinking about it, and the message that I'm trying to share with everybody.
Well,
I love that.
Thank you so much. Honestly, Jerry, I think when you think about it is, a lot of people are waiting, and the fact that you can impulse and act and help people in a time, we're super grateful for people like you. And I think a lot of us kind of got that inspiration from being great in a time of crisis. And I think one thing you kind of said over and over was talking about a message, the right message, communication, and time. Yeah. And when I think about that, I think about Anthony, because, Anthony is consistently, with his podcast and education. I met him through his podcast. And I think one thing is he always has so many messages, and he's, gathering the thoughts and the mindsets of leaders around. So now that you have time, definitely listen to those podcasts, because there's so much nuggets and gifts from there. But I would love for Anthony really to talk about some of those things, those messages, and some things at this time that can really help people, focus on what to do at this time.
Okay, well, it's been great sitting back and listening to everybody else. And I'm very aware that, the audience that are listening to this, we've probably had the whole gamut there, from, salon owners to independent contractors to people that have been laid off, maybe people that are still open. And so obviously everybody's answers have been, totally valid, depending on who it is in the audience that's listening to them. I'm very much going to come at it from the perspective of, if you're a salon owner with probably more likely to be a commission-based team, what should you be doing right now? And it was the perfect segue, when Jerry just touched on the word communication, because that to me was what my answer was going to be all about, that now's about a time for communication. And I sort of break it down into 4 different areas, communicating with your team, communicating with your clients, communicating with family, and communicating with the wider community. So I just want to dig into each one of those just quickly as we, work through it. But, communicating with your team is essential, because, if you're not ongoing communicating with them, because we don't know how long this is going to be last, they're going to be making up worst case scenarios without a shadow of a doubt, and their worst case scenario, you can guarantee, is going to be worse than what it's going to end up being. So by keeping the communication channels open with them. So if you're a salon owner, I mean, I think you should be talking to your staff at least once a week, minimum, but preferably every single day. Now, whether that is simply on the phone, picking up your phone and calling people one by one, whether it's through group text messages, whether it's through Facebook groups, or whether you're using Zoom to do some sort of conference calling thing, there needs to be constant ongoing communication with your team. And, some of that can be educationally based, I think at the beginning that it's going to be about allaying people's fears and addressing their concerns and making sure that that what they're hearing and reacting to is accurate information, because a lot of people are spending a lot of time on social media, and a lot of the stuff on social media isn't always accurate. There's a lot of scaremongering, there's a lot of misinformation, and generally a lot of hysteria and drama. Yeah. So, and as hairdressers, we're all drawn towards that. And I love social media, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. And it's a really important part of our business. But I think that if you live on it full time and you're isolating yourself at home, perhaps you don't even have a TV, that sometimes you can be getting a wrong idea of what's actually going on in the world. So, communicating with your team every day if you possibly can. Some of that can be educationally based, whether it's, working through books together, doing a book club thing, or whether you're doing demonstrations and you've got a doll's head out or a live model and you're demonstrating it to someone, or a group of them, and they're all on Zoom in their respective homes. But the other thing about communicating with your team that I really, hammer home all the time is that they are not all the same people. You will have people on your team who are in stable relationships, who've, got a steady a partner, maybe they've got savings, maybe their partner's also got income coming in, maybe they're in their 30s and they have some stability about their life. You will also have people on your team who are young 20-somethings, who perhaps are not in stable relationships, who perhaps are living, in a one-room studio apartment and they're on lockdown at the moment. Maybe they don't have good family relationships, etc. So I think that using this time to make sure that no one gets left behind, that people don't, slip through the gaps, is really important. So, really ram home, communicating with your team. Secondly, communicating with your clients, because again, if you don't communicate with them, they're going to start forgetting about you. Now, does that mean selling to them? Well, it might do. I'm not going to rule that out. But even if it is just a case of touching base with them, from a humanity point of view, I mean, every hairdresser listening to this will have some clients that they've had for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And they know who they are. And they will be at home, potentially on their own, self-isolating. And to get a phone call from their hairdresser, who they've been seeing for the last 10 or 15 years, who says, "Hi, it's Anthony here. I'm just calling. I just want to touch base, see if you're okay." You should never underestimate the role that we potentially play in the community like that. So, communicating with your clients through digital mediums, and/or pick up the phone, call people if you need to. And then, as was alluded to at the beginning, using the opportunity, I think it was Amber that was saying it, about family. And spending time to reconnect with family members and stuff. I mean, we're all busy, and most of us will be saying that we spend more time at work than what we do with our family. Well, now, like it or not, you've got a lot of time to spend with your family. So it's a good time to rebuild and nurture, those relationships. And then, the last point was about communicating with your wider community. So this is your wider community from a professional perspective. We're talking to the professional community now, but also the community, meaning your neighborhood. It's so important to see who you can help in your neighborhood. They're not necessarily clients of yours, but, other people in your neighborhood, building relationships with them and communicating and building connections with them at a time like this, I think is more important than ever. Not just from a potential marketing perspective, but from a humanity perspective, because, this is affecting everyone in the world, and it's not about to stop tomorrow. I think we've got 2, 3, 4, possibly 5, 6 weeks of this to go. So, the mood is going to change, and we need to, as leaders, be prepared to adapt our message and our communication as the mood changes, because we don't know how that mood is going to change. But yeah, that's my sort of opening salvo. So
I love that. No, I
You
think
mind if I add something to that?
please do.
right ahead.
Somebody asked in the Q&A here, they put a question, what are best practices for keeping your employees engaged? I have some super willing to be involved with social media, reaching out to clients, tips and tricks, and others are not interested at all. For the ones that are interested, do a Zoom or Google Hangout like this 2 to 3 times a week with your team. Everybody can see each other's faces. Have coffee with them. Have a happy hour where everybody makes their favorite cocktail. Do a pajama party where everybody wears their favorite pajamas. Make it fun, right?
Yeah.
Get them on a Zoom like this to brainstorm different marketing strategies. Give them a question that they have to be prepared to answer, so you guys can have virtual meetings to discuss strategies for when you re-engage and reopen the doors. Give them a list of clients that they can reach out to and do wellness check-ins. Like, hey, I'm just calling to check in on you. How are you? Can't wait to see you again soon, but I just want to see if there's any at-home hair care questions that you have that I can answer, and just generally wanted to hear your voice and wanted you to hear mine and how much I love you. That's something that we can be doing every day to reach out to clients. Getting your team members to do Instagram takeovers, so they can take over the feed for a whole day, and it could be their philosophy within brand message, of course. And if you're an independent stylist that works in a suite and you work on your own, you're not alone. Reach out to your peers, reach out to your brand consultants and your sales consultants, and stay connected, and do a Zoom invitation for fellow indies so you guys can get together. Bring in artists like us to come and spend a day or spend an hour and a half with you guys. There's so many different ways that we can get creative if we allow that creative process to take over. And one thing that I've been saying to all of my clients, and in any of these things I've been doing over the last few weeks, is that this is an unprecedented moment, and each of us is going to deal with it differently. And some of us are going to have it a lot more challenging than others. So if some of your team is checking out and they're not engaging at all, I think the first thing to do is to be empathetic and seek to understand. Don't make it mean anything. Just because you're gung-ho and in attack mode, you're choosing fight while others might choose flight and self-nurture and self-care. We all react in different ways, so allow people the space to go through their journey. Don't make it mean anything. Don't make it mean anything from your perspective. If you think that or see that, then that could be a symptom of something deeper. But if you engage it with your judgment and opinion about what you think they should be doing, then you're coming at it from a me, not a we way of thinking, right? So shift into the we and say, okay, if we're in this together and they're not engaging, their lack of communication is a symptom. So the best thing I can do is pivot and reach out and ask a question. And if they don't engage back, I'm not going to make it mean anything. All I'm going to do is let them know that, hey, I'm here, we're here, we love you, I love you. If you need a conversation, I'm here to listen. Whatever you're going through, if you need assistance with anything, I'm here to help. And however you want to engage, you let us know, because you matter. That's the message. Allow people to go on whatever journey they're on right now, because none of us have been in anything like this. None of us were alive 100 years ago when the last pandemic hit, right? So we've got no frame of reference except past history, which didn't even have the technological or the medical advances that we now have. So, I think just allow people their space to go through the journey, how they choose to engage it. And really quickly, some of us have been doing this, but we're about 45 minutes in. So let's all take a hydration break, please, because we have to hydrate and take care of health and well-being. I've been taking cues from Presley. Presley, I got, you put lotion on, so did I, So let's all hydrate here.
I love that.
I just want to say, I remember everything that you just said. And I think it's so important that, and I know I'm like, Jay's down there, we're like, yes, so good. You know, I think it's important, like little sayings always stick with me, like when others see a problem, see an opportunity. And one of the things, like you were talking about, like keeping your salon inspired, and also you, Anthony, is something that, and again, I'm not a salon owner, but as a person who works in a salon, I've always wished and thought that it was a big waste of time that we weren't teaching each other. We've got people in the salon who I'm like, they kill it in balayage, or killer in divots, or killer in hair cutting, or killer in whatever it is. Every single person has this thing that they do so well, and we get to watch them, but we don't really get to hear the thing behind it. So it's like keeping your staff engaged. Like as someone who is a part of a staff, like I would freaking kill to be educated in an informal way by the stylists that I work with, of like inviting them to Zoom meetings and saying, you know what, today is Jason's month, and Jason's going to teach us how to do that beautiful A-line bob that he does. Like, Jason, you know, you're safe here. Can you just like walk us through it? Like just keeping people inspired and working together. I think that's so cool. As far as communicating with people, and this is not a sales thing, but like I totally do that. And I use Schedulicity in order to do that. And my clients love it. Like they love that I send them like to them specific, like personal. I'm like, I'm thinking about you. Like I love you, and I have not forgotten about you, and I will not leave you, and you are a priority. I started that before this. I started it because I travel a lot. And so I was like, I didn't want my clients to think that I was ever going to leave them, because I'm in all these LA and New York and all these places, and they're like, you're going to leave. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm never going to leave you. So I was like, I'm just going to start informing them that I care. And I just think it's so important to not only do that like during this time, but take the lessons that we're learning now and continue to implement them. Continue to communicate with your clients, continue to work with our staff, and continue to be inspired by each other, and take this as that like growing opportunity of like, let's keep it going as a part of the message too. Of like, let's take this, what we've learned, and how we know we're having an understanding of like how much our community really, really matters. And like, let's not lose sight of that, like after it's all done, you know?
Absolutely. I think, you know, at the end of the day, I think you hit the nail on. I think we all, you know, are talking about specifically customer relationships. So if you're a salon owner, you know, you're taking care of employees. If you're a stylist in a salon, you're taking care of customers. I think that's so important to understand that if you take care of that subset, if you take care of those people around you and provide value, you can get through these crisis times. And it's so important to protect your assets and protect those relationships, because that's going to give you that reoccurring revenue, and that's going to really get those asses back in the chairs when you get ready to open again. So, you know, a lot of us are talking about not going dark at this time. That's so important right now. That's the difference of you making it or not right now. It's the difference of being able to get back and be as successful as you are when you left. So it's so important to really remember that your job is to make sure that you keep that engagement going, so that when you are ready to go, that those people are not only excited to see you, but they're excited to get probably their grays or whatever color corrections they need done as well. So that takes me to kind of the next thing, which is without just kind of thinking about it, what are some things that people should be investing in right now? Not only is it probably bandwidth that they're investing in, or more internet access, what is some things that someone should be investing in if you're thinking about investing actual dollars right now into something? What is something that people should be, or salon owners or stylists should be investing in at this time? I could probably take that over to anyone. Maybe we'll start over with Erin on that one. Here we go.
Hi. Actually, it might sound a little different, but I think people should be investing more in themselves. I think so many of us don't pay ourselves first, and you're seeing the consequences of that now when we have to be off for 2 weeks to 12 weeks to 20 weeks. How many times do we spend a lot of money on different things? Like, oh my God, I can count the amount of money that a lot of my girls and I spend on Uber Eats, Starbucks, every single day. And that's not paying yourself.
It adds up.
Yeah. We should be paying ourselves a certain percentage. My goal is 20% paying myself before I pay for anything else monthly. So personally, I think we should be looking at how much we're saving, and then after how much we're saving, how much we're investing after that dollar. Does that make sense? And I think a lot of times it just, we think we're going to do it. And then we don't. And we're, kicking ourselves in the ass because we didn't. So I think it's really evaluating now what we're doing with our money, why, and what do we want to do with it after we've paid ourselves back,
That's awesome.
Go ahead,
for me right now, like what I'm investing in is like my shop's been open for over 3 years now. And I'm investing my time and a little bit of like money that I had saved doing some like simple updates, like changing the paint colors on the walls, maybe adding in a few different plants or different things. So then that way, when my clients come back or my team comes back, they also have like a fresh space where like the energy is new and there's new surroundings. And it'll feel new and fresh and exciting. Whereas like, not that my shop wasn't great before, but when we all come back, I don't want it to feel the same because it's not going to be the same. So right now I'm investing in creating a better space for the comeback, which I'm really excited for. I think it's also been really healthy for me mentally to have a project to work on right now. So it's been great for that. So
I love that. And really quick, I am investing my time into my mental health. And I think that as artists, our first way to like get into something is to run away, right? We dive into our business, we dive into art, we dive in.
You don't know me at all, okay?
Right. So we dive into it. So what I've been doing, and something that like really is helping me, is like go for walks, or setting new standards for my daily life. Like I'm creating better habits, right? So when I wake up, I'm setting that intention to meditate first, right? I've always wanted to do it, but I've made excuses. And like going for walks. And the other day I did a 6-mile walk in LA, and I was like, I'm so inspired right now. Like just by like flowers and the mountains and, just the quietness that it's going around. So it's like investing in your mental health, setting those new standards and boundaries for yourself as artists, because we can always run away from them. So it's just kind of like setting new intentions. And then now we have time to create it, right? So now when we go back to work, we already have those structures of like ways to balance our have a new rhythm, not really balance, but a new rhythm of like having your alone time, going for a walk, and keeping that, a part of your journey moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on what you're saying and what we're hearing from everybody, and that's, if you're going to invest time in anything, lean into the most uncomfortable thing you've been avoiding. Now is the time for that. Whatever that thing is, whether it's budgeting or you shy away from having that critical or crucial conversation. Whatever those things are, lean into and embrace going on that learning curve. Whenever you feel uncomfortability, that's actually the universe tapping you on the shoulder and saying you're actually alive to something. So taking the time now to invest in areas that you don't feel you're the best at or efficient enough at, can make all the difference in the world and have a measurable impact in all the other areas that you find joy in. One of the things I've been doing is a lot of free education right now. So every Monday I do free webinars, and then I record them and put them up on my Facebook page. Stephen J. Gomez, Stephen. That's how my mama spells it, J. Gomez. So 2 weeks ago, I did one on finance. I wrote a book called Financial Fitness. I believe that looking at your numbers, it can be just as creative as the application of that color. So in that webinar, I also offered 3 of my spreadsheets up for free for whoever watches the thing. And you just got to email me and I'm going to send them to you. I got budget spreadsheets and cash flow spreadsheets for you. So please take advantage of those resources. I'm sure other people on here are doing some very similar things that they're offering. But I wanted to give our industry some important templates and documents and systems so y'all can get to work on those things. So if you know you need to work on some of that, whether it's budgeting or teamwork and communication, any of those things, email away, got systems. Just some of you are writing questions and I'm giving you my email address to send a business plan template or whatever you need. We're here to give it to you right now so that you can go on that journey of not only trying to find it, but get some industry specific tools. Anthony's books are amazing. They're chock full of anecdotes. They're like this thick, each of them. And I mean, they're just a treasure trove of great ideas. So make your investment in those things that can fill up the heart, fill up the mind, and recreate your perspective on things. When you can shift how you think and relate to something and then get the tool, you become unstoppable. My email address for somebody that just I'm seeing asked, info at stephengomez.net, stephengomez.net.
Should we all just like drop in the chat room like different ways to access our information? Because I feel like I want to research all of you and get all the things that you have to offer.
I think so at the end of the day, this panel, you know, putting it together, I wanted to have every touch point of every type of person, whether it was an educator, a software provider, you know, like a business coach, a business leader, a business owner, a stylist, podcasters. Like, we wanted to make it as diverse as possible because we all touch so many people and we all inspire so many people. And, you know, like that was talked about earlier, is that, you know, you have to take those opportunities that, yes, all of us feel comfortable being in front of a camera and all of us feel comfortable talking, but there's millions of people that don't. And the power that you guys have and the power that you consistently have to show up and elevate and consistently make people feel like they're still going to be okay at the end of this is so inspiring. And so again, I'm thanking you guys so much for taking this time. And as I do my final thoughts here, we're now getting ready for some questions. So Kim, our SalonScale moderator, will be asking those questions. You'll hear a nice voice come through.
The voice of God.
Yeah, I want us to encourage anyone listening to this and understand your power lies from just having your own voice and not caring about what others necessarily think, but just spread positivity and joy at this time. It's so important. And this panel is an exact example of how to be in a time of crisis. So I know how draining it can be, that you're consistently answering those DMs, you're consistently showing up and you're doing all that stuff. So I want to personally thank every single one of you guys for taking a chance on the industry and then showing up when it's the hardest time, and you're still like encouraging people that we can get through this together. So thanks so much for being amazing leaders, and I cannot wait for you to consistently rise and to build back and hit this massive reset button together. We have a reset button and we're going to use it, and we're going to be stronger. We're going to look into those finances. Yes, you heard me. I said the F word, finances. We're going to look into those finances and we're going to build a foundation that actually will build us to be more sustainable. So please think about that when you are at home right now, that you can do this just like I did. I started a tech company 2 years ago. I had no clue about technology. I had no clue about finances. I had no clue about that. But because I believed in what I needed to do, I leaned into that hard stuff, just like Steve said. You know, I spoke with so many people on this panel that really encouraged me and let me feel that what I was doing mattered. But that can happen for you too. So when you listen to this, dig into that. You can look into those finances and you can build a financial model that's going to get you through this. So believe in yourself and take that time. So with that, I'd like to pass it on to a question from the audience, and we'll spend a few minutes here on these questions and then we'll wrap things up for the day.
All right, here comes the ominous voice over the top of it. I said to the panelists earlier, I don't have my camera on because I'm still in my pajamas. That's how I'm doing things these days. So our first question comes from Brian, and Brian is wondering about how far we as stylists and salons should go towards making our client needs met. So I know we kind of touched on that with Steve, but box color options aside, is guided professional self-color application through stylist tutorials on the table? I know it's kind of a controversial topic, but what are your guys' thoughts about meeting needs?
That's something that I'm seeing a lot of, and I'll just like tune in onto it because I've been so back and forth about it. At first, I think all of us were like, no way, there's no way we're going to sell color kits to our clients, you know, thinking that this was only going to be a 2-week thing, and it's going now, you know, further and further and further. So yeah, people have started selling like home color kits to their clients where they formulate, they pick it up, you know, they give a little directional video to their clients on how to mix it. I think it's really personal preference on how you feel about doing that for your business. Me personally, right now, I don't feel comfortable offering that for my clients entirely, but I know that it's been quite successful for some people. And if it helps your business stay afloat and that's something that you truly feel is good for you and your business, I think you have to just go with your heart on that one. What's your guys' opinion on that?
Amber, can I offer a little bit of a debate to that?
Sure.
The only other thing to consider there, you guys, is that your customer is not licensed. You are. They're not.
That's why I don't feel comfortable selling them chemicals, right? Yeah,
exactly. You know, so my whole thought process around that is focus on doing color corrections when you reopen before you take it upon yourself to mix a color and do a video demo, because somebody else at home is just not licensed. They haven't gone through the education. They're working with chemicals. What if they have a kid around? You're actually, based on the state you in, could be liable for it. There could be some liability and legal parameters that you need to focus on. And also think about there's 8 states in this country right now that are fighting deregulation. So taking a step like this could potentially support the people trying to deregulate what we work hard for. So it's just something for you guys to think about. I do agree, Amber, everybody's got their own choice to make. And who are we in times like this to tell people what they should do? But what we should be doing is informing you to really circle all the bases and look at every big picture parameter of a choice like that you can make. How about pivoting from doing something like that to selling gift cards and scheduling people for upcoming appointments, taking that money, keeping it to the side and preparing yourself for when you reopen. A friend of mine that is an amazing color educator, her name's Leah Freeman with Lonza.
Yeah.
She owns a salon, and you know, I do a lot of work with that brand, and she owns a salon called Fuse, and she is offering anybody that books an appointment in advance, they get a complimentary lip or brow wax because it costs pennies on the dollar to do it. And then she's also offering 2 full-size products, shampoo and conditioner, realizing that the wholesale hit is going to be temporary, but incentivizing people to book ahead to guarantee the money coming is critical. Yeah. If you sell the gift cards now, if you have that capability, manage the money by ensuring that if you're the owner and paying other people, give your team the chance, like, hey, Anthony, 6 of your clients bought a gift card in anticipation of seeing you when we reopen. And it's $600 of volume and you get 50% of that. Would you like the $300 now, or would you like the $300 when we open? What's going to help you? Give him the option so that he can be a yes or no on that. And then just manage and keep a list of it so that you could, that's another way to help your team members get cash flow in their hands now. Also keep about 10% aside for your back bar color costs. So you're covering your hard costs, and about 2% aside for credit card processing fees. So that way you're managing your money around it, and then try and hold on to as much of that money as you can until you reopen your doors. so you can then gauge that reopening process from a financial perspective. There's a lot of other ways you can do things before the at-home color kits as an option. And with the at-home color kit thing, again, focus on color correction. If your clients just can't wait and they got to go buy the box color, then let them know that you'll be more than happy to do color correction for them at a discount and help them out. That's try and exercise.
Another way to help our clients out at home is like, we've been doing a product sale, and like we did like 20% off all product across the board. And I think we've had like almost $4,000 in the last 2 weeks of product sales.
That's awesome.
Amazing. So I highly recommend anyone that's watching this, if you do own a salon and you're able to sell product, do it. Give your clients a good discount. 20% off is awesome. And it also allows our clients to have a way to support us too, right? Because, you know, I've been doing hair for 10 years. I've had some clients that have been seeing me for that long, and they do send me messages too to check up on me. You know, how are you doing? Like, what can I do to help you? So there's still a salon to come back to. So they want to buy product, even if they don't need it. They want to support us also, just like we're trying to support them. They truly want to support us too. So yeah, doing product sales too, making sure they have what they need while we're closed. And we also sell like temporary root sprays, like Kevin Murphy or any. Honestly, they're great. They'll do the trick. It'll get your clients through. But again, I'm not judging anybody who chooses to do the home color kits, but I don't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I just thought about something. I was like, how cool would it be? Well, for me, I was thinking that for the next 3 months, like when we go back to work, I'm going to offer a 10% discount to my clients, and I'm cutting off all of my travel for the next at least 2 months until I get the backlog of clients that I have.
Get everyone back in.
Open up all the days that I would have been traveling, which is essentially 12 to 15 days a month. And I'm going to reopen that to my clients. So all of my clients that have had to push theirs back, I'm making sure that I take the ones who are there, but I'm also opening up my other days to the ones that I can backlog so that everyone just kind of stays in queue. But I think the 20% off product is a super dope idea, but how cool would it be if we did like a social distancing of like, so I was just thinking, I'm going to get on Schedulicity. Thank you for this idea, by the way. I was like, I'm going to send out my thing to people, letting them know that I care and I want to offer them products. And if they're in the PDX area, I might do a distance drop off for them.
Yeah, you could just drop off on their thing.
Yeah, just take it to their house and put it at their door. Like, what a cool, like, little care package of like, they can pay with their card, and you just, like, and it keeps you busy and everyone's safe. Like, that'd be so cool.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do all things. It's going to be so good.
I've actually been doing that, and it's awesome. You just drop it off their door, and they're excited, and it's great.
Like, bring a little, like, Post-it notebook and just, like, leave them a little note, like, I love you,
That's
and
awesome.
I care about you, and, like, stick it on their door and run away. You're like, stranger danger. Like, but I think that's, like, I think that's
I'll jump in
cool
here and
way
make
to
a
stay
comment
connected.
about the color thing at home, because it is probably the single most emotive subject that there is happening at the moment on social. And I can argue it from both sides of the coin. I think what Steve said about insurance issues and stuff is very valid. I also think that, I forget who it was that said, I think it was Zamba, about not being judgmental. I mean, I don't know the situation that some salon owners and some hairdressers are in as to why they need to do that. And we can talk about, you know, professionalism and, you know, not dumbing down what we do and teaching people to get their husband to put their color on at home. And we can talk about this one forever. But I sort of see the real problem here is that if you're not doing it, they are going to go and buy color anyway, okay? And they're going to buy color from the same companies that you're buying color from. And a lot of hairdressers don't even realize that, you know, L'Oreal obviously own Redken. Redken have a Root Fusion color for home hair color at the moment that they're selling. They own Matrix, they own Pureology, they own Schumacher, they own Kerastase, and they also own Color & Co., which is an online color company manned by professional hairdressers who do professional consultations online, exactly like I'm looking at you now, and giving you individual formula colors, right? And then you've got Henkel, who own Schwarzkopf and Sexy Hair and Kenra and Alterna and Pravana and Zotos and Joico and My Identity. And they also own eSalon, as well as all the supermarket brands that they do. So, with between L'Oreal and Henkel, they've pretty much got it all covered, because no matter where clients buy their color from, they're winning. Whether they buy it in the supermarket, buy it from you, or buy it from these online color companies, they don't really care. Okay, they're answerable to their shareholders. So don't be so naive to think that they should be loyal to the hairdresser. That is not what that game's all about. And the industry is pretty naive about that at the hairdresser level, I believe. So I make no apologies for naming and shaming. But that's the reality of it. And when I say they have a loyalty to their shareholder, so they should, and salon owners have a loyalty to their shareholders. So Amber has a loyalty to her shareholder. And guess who her shareholder is? Her and her family. And she needs to do the right thing for her and her family and her business. And, I totally understand that. And or the alternative is you sit by and you watch eSalon and you watch Color & Co., so owned by Henkel and owned by L'Oreal, or Madison Reed, which is the only privately owned one, go and take your color business away from you. And, so many hairdressers, they then are sitting there listening to this going, yeah, but they'll all be in my salon next week having color correction. Well, I hope I can swear on this podcast. Bullshit. They won't be. That's the reality of it. They won't be. 2 out of 3 clients are currently coloring their hair at home. If every box color that was used was rubbish, you would be overwhelmed with color corrections. Erin and Amber, salon owners, you'd be lucky if they did 2 color corrections a week on box color. So what that's saying to you is this: the average consumer is quite happy with their box color and quite happy with their eSalon, Madison Reed, Color & Co. product. So if you let go of that business, you're going to lose a percentage of it. And I just think you'd be naive to think otherwise. And I also think that as an industry, that we're led to believe that the product in the supermarket box is radically different to the product that we're given. I don't necessarily believe that. I think what's radically different is the person holding the tube. And your knowledge,
it's customization. It's customization, a lot of it, realistically.
And, when you have these conversations, people are frightened to have them. I mean, I've been on podcasts before where I've said the sort of thing I've just said, and I've been told, you can't say that, we'll lose all our sponsorship. Well, it's the reality of it. Do you know what I mean? So as an industry, we get down on the guy down the road who's selling product at his front door to clients to maintain their color because they have to be closed because coronavirus. Well, and it's all over social media. But if the same level of argument was put to, the big boys, the L'Oreals and the Henkels that own all those companies, then, that's how you can maybe move the needle a little bit in your direction. Either that or support companies that do not sleep in both beds, that they're professional only. So I make no apologies for saying that I'm aligned with Paul Mitchell and I do a lot of stuff with them. Well, they do a professional color. End of story. It's not a supermarket brand, and they're not a perfect brand. No brand is, but they're 100% behind the hairdresser.
Yeah, no, I think you make a really good point there, Anthony. And I think at the end of the day, there's going to be a divide. And we talked about non-judgmental and all that stuff. And I think at the end of the day, whatever side you lie on, it's important to not necessarily shame the other side, but to maybe understand that we all have different perspectives and we all have different lenses when it comes to controversial conversations like that. But when you are making these decisions, I think the biggest thing you need to look at is like, what is the best value for me at this time? And I think focusing on your retail and pushing your retail is going to be a lot stronger for you than pushing your color business. And that comes from someone who's made a technology based all around color. But basically what I think right now is, you have a thing called inventory locked up on your shelves, and that inventory is cash sitting there. So move your cash, move your cash. And that is every single product on your shelf. So get creative as you can, add on bonuses. If they buy 2, they get this. Get creative with your teams. Push that product completely off your shelves because there's no point of it sitting there until the 2 months or month or 3 weeks or however long this is going to take for it to sit there. It just doesn't make sense. And most importantly, yes, your staff or your customers want to take care of you. So find creative ways to get them involved in your business. We've heard another little tip is that I've heard of people taking their top 20% customers and offering them a subscription for a year. So basically, if they spend $5,000 a year in your business, you get them to pay that out at a discounted rate, and they get access to your services for the rest of 2020. With that being said, please listen to Steve when he says this, is that doesn't mean that's money in your pocket to spend. That means you're going to manage that money properly and make sure that you're putting it there to make sure that it's managing the business, so that when you do open, you don't have no cash again and a bunch of people that are requiring those subscriptions.
Exactly. I would also add, check in with your distributors, you guys. Check in to see if they are offering direct shipping. This was an idea that came from Ward Bassett. He's a distributor here on the West Coast. He owns Bassett Salon Solutions, and I partner with him, and he started direct shipping, basically having his clients, you, the stylist, the owners, take orders from clients and then getting that information to Ward, and he's direct shipping. He's only keeping his wholesale. He's shipping for free. And since he started doing that, 11 other distributors nationwide followed suit. So check in with your distributors and see if they're offering direct shipping as a possibility to get retail into your clients' hands. I saw somebody ask a question, should they be selling directly or create an online portal now and get all detailed to sell products online? You certainly can do something like that, create an online store. However, if an easy route is to see if your distributor can do something like that, because they're pretty much programmed and set up to do that, then I'd go down that route first.
And to answer you, Amber, I think you asked about taking your top 20%. Is that what you're asking?
That was me. I was asking if we could elaborate on that a little bit more of like, okay, so you said take the top 20% of your clientele, and then you take the average of what they pay. Can you just go over that again? So
if you take the top 20% of your customer base, and let's say that you take out how much they've spent a year in your business, like how much they average in a year, whether like it's going to be between $3,000 and $5,000. That's how much they usually spend. Now you take those people and you say, look, you normally would spend $5,000 a year. If you pay out $4,000 right now, I'll give you $1,000 for the year, and you can come to our business for the rest of 2020 for that price.
And like you could essentially just book out the rest of their appointments for the year and move them around like as needed.
You bet. But it's a way that's a way of getting capital injection in your company now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for bringing that up. That makes so much sense. And I feel like it kind of simplifies and concentrates everything of like, they're a sure bet, they're done. All that's done. Anything else is just product that they pay for when they come in. That sounds so nice.
It's very similar to the massage MDs and the hand and stone massage companies of the world, that you're paying either you get people to pay up front at a little bit of a discount to get the cash flow, or you have them pay a monthly stipend, and then if they want to use if they want to purchase additional services, they do that. Think of models like that can be creative right now, but having somebody pay for their services in advance, like go back and see like, okay, well, Anthony, he books 8 services a year on average, so I'm going to offer him, and he spends $100 an average. So that's $800. I'm going to offer him to do it for $700, and then I'm then gonna keep my hard cost percentage aside. So if I have to pay somebody a commission on that work and payroll tax, my retail inventory percentage, my back bar inventory percentage, and my credit card processing, those are my direct hard costs of doing the work on him. And if that's 65% of that cash, I'm keeping it aside, and I've got the other 35% of that cash that is now in my pocket that I keep for opening day, for those first 3 months.
I'm like, I know that with my extension clients, because it's such a huge lump sum, like every single time, something I started offering was doing invoices. So it's kind of like they get their extensions and I invoice them for their next set every month until they get in, so that like they can have smaller payments. And by the time they come in, it's like $400 and they get this $2,000 service, but they don't feel like it's coming out in these big chunks. So it kind of relates back to what you guys were saying of like, you could have them pay like this monthly little stipend or like the big thing. I think that's pretty awesome. My question, Jerry, do you know if we can concentrate that information within Schedulicity?
Yes.
Of like, how could we figure, if we're using Schedulicity, how could we figure out who our top 20% of clientele is? Is there any way to do that?
Yes, absolutely there is. You can pull up reports and see all of that. A lot of the things that you guys are talking about are all automated in there. We're doing something, launching something in a week or two, maybe sooner, because they're working on it really hard, but we're doing something really cool. We're creating a virtual tip jar. And so we're launching it, and then as you're communicating with your customers, like you're doing with the automated marketing or just pulling templates and sending people out custom things like you were talking about, every one of those things will come with a tip jar so that your client can say, you know, I want to help you because I know you're not working, and it gives them an opportunity right there that they can donate and make donations during this time. We think it's going to be huge because people have been asking about it. Like, you know, I mean, I've probably talked to my hairstylist 3 times in the last 2 weeks, you know, just to see how she's doing. What I wanted was a way that I could just go right on Schedulicity and on a tip jar and give her $100 because I know, you know, she's doing it. We're about to make that available to all the millions of consumers. So the more that you're communicating with them, the more opportunity there is for them to do it as well.
Amazing. That's awesome. Well, we're getting kind of down to that last little bit. And speaking of donations, another company, the PBA, they do have a relief fund that I would like to strongly suggest that if you have any extra dollars to help out with this fund, they are trying to help the most severely affected. And I think that, you know, we do need to focus on this large fund as well. We do have Schedulicity that does have their fund as well. But it's really important to think of the big picture. And, you know, when you are selling that retail, maybe it is like, you know, letting the customers know that, you know, a portion of those sales are going to the PBA too. You know, give them an opportunity to understand that we need to pay rent. You know, we can hang out here all we want, and but we have bills to pay too, to make sure that we can come back to these salons. And that's the biggest fear from a salon owner, is that I just need to make sure that my rent is paid for the next 2-3 months, however long, and then we'll be fine. And that's a big expense. And so if we can create a large enough fund and donate as much as we can to make sure that at least the rent is covered, we know we can have these facilities back for so many people. So it's important to think about donating and find creative ways, whether it's, you know, selling a portion of those products and putting that back into the PBA and start a movement. And we want to think right now of everything like a river, and everything has to keep moving. So please do not stand still. Everything has to stay moving forward, and take as much inspiration and guidance from nature, and think of things like motion and movements like a river, and make sure that your products are still moving. Make sure that your spirit is still moving. Make sure your heart and your passion is still moving. It is extremely important to not stand still, like all of us have said. It's a point right now to dive right into yourself and move forward in the best direction you have. You have the opportunity now to be a new you. You have an opportunity to reset all the things and make sure that you come back a stronger and more confident stylist, salon owner, coach, or wherever you want to be after this. So with that being said, you know, we have the last little bit minutes here. So if anybody wants to add to that as their final things to say, we have about 5 minutes before the rest of this is. But again, I want to thank everybody for keep on moving and for us to focus on that new opportunities. So thank you all for being a part of Together We Talk. And for those of you, again, that want to have some last comments, feel free to speak now.
I just want to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sharing
I want to say thank you.
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to see everybody and meet everybody and see my buddy Anthony again. It's been years. I do feel compelled, Alicia, to put out there that a lot of salons, if you're facing severe economic calamity, and if your team is in super dire straits, I caught wind of salons doing GoFundMe campaigns, and I researched 7 of them, and one of my clients launched one this past Monday. This isn't about pride. This is not about pride at all in a time like this. We're in an unprecedented place. And if you're waiting for the unemployment check, which hasn't arrived yet, you're waiting for the grant, which hasn't arrived yet, you're waiting for the economic stimulus check, which hasn't arrived yet, and you were forced to pay rent because your state didn't give you a moratorium, and you are running out of money, a GoFundMe campaign is not a bad strategy. Every single one of them that I've researched have been incredibly successful, and the comments from the clients that have been donating have been amazing and heartwarming. One of my clients who's in Brooklyn, which is just right in the war zone right now, in New York, she put one out. She's got 14 people that work for her, and she's looking to raise $1,000 per person. And she launched it on Monday, and she's raised $6,155 so far. And just the comments from her clients have been so full of love. And, of course, we're here to help people that take such good care of us. So consider a GoFundMe campaign. And I think the last thing I'll say is that this is a time where we can rise. This is a time that we can shine. Let's make values-based decisions that are based on our character and what we believe in, and let's pivot from reaction to proaction based on what we value, not based on the situations we face. Alicia, I love you. It's so great to hang with this amazing group of people, and we're here to support in whatever way, shape, or form that we can. Only love, everybody.
All right. Well, with that being said, is there anybody that has any final thoughts or anything that they want to say?
I feel smart for having been around everyone.
Yes, I'm so inspired. And I also want to say, don't forget your magic, right? Don't forget your passion, your purpose, what you stand for, and being clear as kind, right? And speak up if you need help, because no one knows who you are unless you tell them. And a closed mouth never gets fed. So open up.
Yeah.
I'd like to add a final thought. I think taking advantage of this opportunity, and I know it's been really hard and it's hitting us all in different ways, but I'm trying to keep my mindset that this is also a blessing. I think, we touched on always being so busy. I can't remember the last time in the last 20 years I had more than a week off work that wasn't, you know what I mean, somewhere else. So, let's change our mindset as well. And every day wake up grateful for the fact that we still have a house and we still have food on our table right now. And we still have, something like this right now, this community that we're able to share with. And then just, be grateful for this reboot. We're literally getting this chance to all press pause on our lives, start fresh, start over, and just be a better version of ourselves coming back in. And I think that's the mindset that everyone needs to focus on. It's just this is a blessing. As much as it is hard right now, it's going to be better for everyone and for the world in the long run. Yeah. So got to stay positive.
Heck yeah, Amber.
And think of how many of us understand each other. What I think is so cool is, it's not cool, but the upside is we all understand what's going on because we're in the same boat, right? So we have so many
closer
people,
together in the industry.
Yeah, we have so many people that can be there for us and that we can be there for them. I've never felt closer to so many people in the industry than I have now, and I've never felt closer to my personal family because of the time I've got to spend with them. So
100%.
That is an upside.
Good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and thanks for having this organized, Alicia. You're amazing.
You're amazing.
Yes.
You're amazing.
Hey, Alicia, somebody asked if they're going to be able to listen to this because there was so much great information. Can they listen to this again, if you can speak to that?
You bet. So not only do you listen to this, I will send it out to every single person that's subscribed or registered. I'm getting the subscriptions all mixed up. But anybody that registered, I will send it right back to you. And then every single panelist gets a link as well, so they can share it on their podcasts, on their
awesome.
And the whole point of this is just to help give as much knowledge as we can. And I think together, all of us collectively are here to just be there and be another source to really help make some friends, make some relationships in order to focus on what we need to do next. So keep talking, do not stop talking, keep sharing, and try to think of those other ways and get as creative as you can in this process. And again, with these panelists, thank you so much for your time today, for really being there and being amazing. Your perspectives are so incredible. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our industry. And I cannot wait to really see what happens at the end of this.